Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. We're building up to another weekend of decent action. We've got some really good handicaps to get stuck into. The classic chase, the Lanzarote. That we is Steve Jones. You can see our Twitter handles there. That's at SJ Racing Media. Ed Quigley, longshot_Ted. Ed, welcome along. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, Tom. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm very good. Yeah, indeed. Looking forward to it.
Why Ted, not Longshot Ed? What is Ted just a nickname?
Yeah, essentially it's the old Racing Post days, and I don't know, a few famous Teds kind of floating around as idols on the old offices of the Racing Post walls. You know, there's a Teddy Sheringham poster. There might be Ted Bundy as well. There are a few others which people seem to like. Yeah, it's stuck from an early days, really. And then I wrote the long shot column, and then it kind of, that was it really. It was stuck forever. So even when I tip a threes on poke now, it's still long shot Ted. I can't get away from it.
Well, let us know your favourite Teds. I think Teddy Sheringham would probably be up there for me, being a Spurs fan, although he went to Man United by the Champions League. Great. But yeah, Teddy Sheringham probably mine. Adele Mulrennan, how are you? Have you got a favourite Ted, Adele?
I've got a favourite Ted.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Super Ted.
Not even the one that's on this one. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Ed, I'm sorry. You're my favourite Ted now.
Congratulations.
My name's just so boring. AC Mulrennan. And if anything, it's like the worst thing. People think I'm Paul's sister and not his wife.
No,
Paul's sister. No.
Thing is, you the way that your relationship has gone, I'm sure people did used to refer to you as Paul's wife, but now he's Adele's husband. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. In your face, Paul. Right, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I feel this podcast has started quite well. Follow on your preferred podcast app, be it Apple or Spotify. In all seriousness, a really good way of supporting this podcast is to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It does us the world of good, and it makes it easier for you to listen each and every time or watch each and every time podcast goes up, and it's completely no cost. Head to insights.matchbook.com for all the podcast bets. They'll be uploaded this afternoon. That's across all sports as well. It's a big weekend in the NFL, and the Premier League is back as well. The NFL Wildcard Playoff weekend is this weekend. Dan Hussey's been busy producing that as well as this. And the Premier League podcast has been recorded as well. Just a reminder, racing-wise, episodes 1 to 4 of The Other Side of the Fence with Ollie Murphy, featuring our very own Charlie Post, is all live now. Getting a horse from the sales, breaking them in at home, training them, and then sending them to the racecourse. We haven't quite got there yet, but it's a really good idea of what you do with a young horse when you pick them up from the sales. All right, let's get stuck in. So, first of all, we're going to have a look at the Lanzarote Handicap Hurdle. As far as the betting goes for this contest, it's pretty open, as you might expect. Not sure if we have betting for you. If not, I'll read out what I've got in front of me. But the usual suspects are right at the top as far as who you'd expect to have horses in there. Betting's loading up, sorry. Right, so we've got Green Glory. Well, you wouldn't necessarily expect a Burns horse to come over, but Green Glory is 6.0. Outlaw Peter is 6.5. Dubrovnik Harry 9.0. West Bilboa is 10.0. Then we get stuck into the bigger prices, including Cobbler's Dream, last year's successor, who's here off £10 higher at 15.0. We've got 4 different shouts, so hopefully one of us gets it right. Adele, straight over to you. Who do you like and why?
Okay, honestly, I've gone round in circles with this race because there's a lot of them I like for different reasons, and trying to put it all together for Saturday, I presume the ground's going to be quite heavy, and I read they've got like forecast of 10 mils to come before then. I really like the fact that conditional jockeys have such a good record in this race, so that's the kind of route I've gone down, and then looking for something with value, considering the ones that have, when you look through the past winners, last year's top 2 in the betting were, I think they were pulled up, or they were certainly weren't in the placings. I think last year's was 10-1, second was 25-1, third was 33-1, and it's kind of quite a similar reoccurrence the time before. So I've been looking for something with a bit of value, something that I thought might be still open to a little bit more improvement. Red Risk is the one I've come down on. Freddie Gingell takes off that valuable £7 allowance. He takes over in the saddle. He's not had a winner at Kempton yet, but he's had a couple of rides there. Now, this horse, I presumed, pulled off a little bit of a surprise when he won on his reappearance at Newbury. He'd been off for 203 days. He's gone up £6 for that. Obviously, Freddie takes his £7 off, so that kind of offsets that. But he was kind of only really asked some serious questions in the last kind of half a furlong. Other than that, he was pushed out hands and heels. He was looking a little bit exposed last season, but he's another summer on his back and a year older, and sometimes they just still have a little bit up the sleeve. So again, I'm not. It's a small win in the place market. I'm going to play in the Lanzarote hurdle.
Well, he's 23.0 in the win market currently. When that place market is full, you can work out whereabouts he'll be. But yeah, claimers have got a really good record in the race. Of course, there's one on the favourite. Ed, who do you like?
I go, win and place angle here. I'm going to Jamie Snowden's having a bit of a season to remember, isn't he? He scooped a big pot at Cheltenham back in November. They've been operating a very healthy strike rate all season. And I wonder if Up for Parole was the forgotten horse in here in many respects. Ran in this race last year, finished 6th. Only beating 8 lengths, but that doesn't tell the full story in the sense that this horse likes to be ridden prominently, at least get on with things. And it was absolute argy-bargy at the start and basically just totally fluffed the stalls in jumps terms and was always on the back foot from an early stage. I basically think the race was lost at the beginning. Yet, to his credit, did knuckle down and passed a whole host of beta rivals up the running into 6th. Well, the Snowden team have got him here this time around off a £4 lower mark. I don't think he's possibly handicapped at all. He's only £2 higher than when he was last in the winners' enclosure. If you look through all his form or his best form, all comes on flat tracks, soft ground. So, I think this is tailor-made for him. He's a big price. He did get injured at this course on unsuitably quick ground back in May. There is always the chance, of course, that the fires don't quite burn like they once did. But look, you get in it's a cheap way to find out. I spoke to Jamie Snowden a couple of weeks ago. And he says, look, this has been the target. He'll be trained to the minute for this. He's down the bottom of the weights. And I just thought at a big price, if he can run into a place, at least I'll be happy.
29.0 for Up for Parole. Steve Jones, who's your favourite Ted?
I always like Little Ted, but Humpty was all right as well. But Little Ted probably I'd go through the square window. Little Ted.
Peter's Punt says Teddy Ruxpin. I've never heard of Teddy Ruxpin. No idea who that is. Ted Danson, great shout. Ted, what a Ted. Love Ted Danson.
Yeah, I love Cheers. Cheers was a good programme.
Yeah,
anyway,
Ted Bovis.
Ted Bovis, yeah.
Ted
Heidi High Campus.
Yeah. You notice for once, everyone, Steve's in a rush. Now, he was about
I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush at all. I was on time, which our producer wasn't, because he didn't get out of bed until about 9:25. But hey, I don't hold grudges.
That's fine. The good news is
let's talk about Teddy. I don't know any other Ted.
Yeah, right, go on, Steve. Who do you like and why?
Well, 12 months ago, I liked Up for Parole, big time. So if Ed's right or Ted's right, then I should be a bit sick. But the horse that I fancy also ran in this race last year and would probably been 3rd or 4th had he not fallen at the last. And this is Quinta du Mar of Ben Paulings. Now, he won last time out. That was back in November at Fontwell over 2-2. That's a little bit on the sharp side for him, but the form worked out really, really well. The second, Irish Hill, has won a couple of times since, and the third has also won since, and there's winners further back. So it's really good form. He goes well off the back of a break. So the fact that he hasn't run for 2 months is in his favour. And he's got to improve on last year's 4th in this race, but he ran really well. And Ben Pauling's horses seem to have improved for the switch of yards. They've moved onto Norton Downs Golf Club opposite the other side of the valley from Nigel Twiston Davis. And he's been in really good form all season. So I think Quinta du Mar, what is he, Tommy? 17.0, 19.0, something like that. Win in place. Good bet, I think.
Yeah, 19.0 for Ben Pauling, flying along in Keeler.
Yeah, really, really good. I can't understand why he's that price when you consider. And the other thing to mention is the likely favourites of coming over from Ireland of Charles Burns, Green Glory. I think there's been travel issues, so watch that one because he might not make the race, but keep an eye on that.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm going to... Michael DC is watching along with us, I know. Why he's not on this podcast, I don't know, because he put up Boreham Bill at 67.0 a few years ago on the podcast under claimer Ben Jones. The thing that annoyed me about that year was I put up Misty Whiskey and Amour de Nuit because they were both written by claimers. They finished second and fourth, but I left alone Boreham Bill because I didn't think he had any shot of winning. But I'm not going for a claimer this year. I'm keeping it simple. And going for a horse who tried fences last time. It was disappointing. Dubrovnik Harry. He's very lightly raced. I'm pretty sure he's still well treated. That Sandown race, the EBF final, is always a strong race. And he kept on with a good bit of promise. If it is, it's likely to be testing. I mean, it's Kempton testing, so hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. But he's won on heavy ground before. I thought he should just about head the betting. I don't know. I can't back Green Glory, even though he might be he's the obvious one. But yeah, 9.0 Dubrovnik Harry, win and place seemed a fair bit of value to me. Okay, let's move on. We are going to go to the 130s. We're going back in time now. Sort of a mixture of good handicaps to get stuck into, and then not the biggest field. This is a 7-runner affair. Tile Tapper is 4.0. At 4.5 is Ansam, 5.0 Enrillo, Smarty Wild, One Day, 6.0. Percussion, 9.5. Bigger Price is the final pair. Ed, I'm going to come straight back to you.
Yep, tentative picking this one, but on balance, it's last chance saloon with the top weight here on Rio for Cobden and Nichols for me. I mean, yeah, at times he does jump like a snooker table, and his form figures do reflect that. However, he's undeniably well handicapped off 1-4-3 if you look back at some of his old form. And again, I was watching the Badger Beers race at Wincanton last time out, and he was travelling really well until the 12th, and then crashed out, which is a little bit the kind of story of his career. But I think this is much calmer waters compared to some of those big field hurly-burly races he's been competing in. I think this small field might just help his jumping out a little bit. And we know Paul Nichols on the Saturday just got this master stroke of getting horses who look like they've gone slightly off the boil to come back and scoop big pot. So, yeah, a tentative selection. I'm not massively bowled away by any of them, to be honest with you. But I do think Rio on back class, and he's won it the track. He gets the nod from me.
All right, Steve, I'm with you. I thought Tile Tapper could actually be shorter than 4.0. Ran a good race last time. Testing ground isn't going to be a problem. Yeah, I thought it was pretty obvious, to be honest. But I wouldn't get carried away at the prices.
I thought it was a good price, to be honest. I thought this was a very straightforward race. There's question marks about all manner of them on ground and attitude and jumping. And Tile Tapper, his form for me is rock solid. Won at Chepstow heavy ground back in February, and this season finished twice second. First to Shake 'em Up Harry, who's a progressive horse who I think is well handicapped or was well handicapped. And then last time second to Remastered when Smarty Wild was behind. So I just thought it was pretty obvious. The more rain, it certainly won't hurt Tile Tapper, and it'll hurt some of the others. So I just think he wins, and I can see him going off a lot short. I can see him going off sort of 7-4. No, sorry, 2.75.
You've clawed that back all right. No one will notice.
It's good effort.
Yeah, really good. Adele.
I'm going with Percussion of Laura Morgans, who she's a trainer who I think a lot of. She does very, very well with her small team. She's well on her way to beating last season's tally. I think she had 32 winners. She had 34 winners last year, and she's on 32 now. And I don't think this horse has done a whole lot wrong. His last two runs were at Aintree over the big fences, finishing third to Ashtown Lad in the Beecher Chase. He outran his odds when even the time before that in the in the Grand Sefton. I think he was at £8 out of the weights that day. He was 40-1. He's a big price again on Saturday. He has won on heavy ground. He won last December over 3 miles too on heavy ground. He's a good jumper. He's on the same mark as when he was third in the Beecher's Chase. Seems quite a versatile little horse, really. You know, he won round Southwell over 2 miles 4. He's won over 3 miles. So I like Laura Morgan as a trainer. I don't think she's actually even had a runner at Kempton. So she's certainly not had a winner there yet, but hopefully that'll be the end of that with Percussion.
All right, Percussion for Adele in that 130. 9.5 for Percussion. So third from the bottom of the betting. We move on. We're going to go to the 150 at Warwick. It's a small enough field, Hampton Novices Chase. 2 of us are going with Complete Unknown, who heads the betting. 2 of us with Garlier de Litter. Adele, we can make our case for the mare first of all. So what's the reason you're forgiving Kempton last time?
Well, I think I think Harry will ride her a little bit more patiently at Warwick. She made a really bad mistake, didn't she, at the open ditch? Like, she really reached for it, and you can see when she landed at the other side, you could tell it just knocked the stuffing out of her, and that was the end of it. You know, she was up against it against the big boys that day. So I think you could completely and utterly forgive that race. Go back the time before when she won a mares listed chase. I'm still a little bit of a question mark with the form. I think Maya Grace has gone on and won again. I just think you can forgive her for Kempton. She won't mind the ground. She's won a point to point over 3 miles, so I think she'll be absolutely fine at the trip. So yeah, I just think I was going to be very brave, and I was actually going to lay Complete Unknown, but then I was like, do I really want to lay? I don't want to go against Steve and Ed, so I kind of talked myself out of it. I wasn't brave enough.
For me, it was the prices about. I thought Gallia Litter was a bit written off the back of last time when, her jumping came unstuck, but the error at the second, that was it. So, interested, you think she'll be ridden a bit differently? I don't know. I thought the prices she shouldn't be so discounted. So I'd rather back her at her price than I would Complete Unknown off the back of, a bit of a stinker last time, but really that early error cost her and got her out of her rhythm. So I'll give her one more chance. Ed, who's for you?
Yeah, I'll be siding with Complete Unknown just because I thought the horse looked a total natural switch into the larger obstacles last time out. Soft ground, no problem. I think step back up to 3 miles won't be a problem. All in all, a bit of a disappointed turnout, isn't it? Truth be told, it's not a race that has got me kind of lighting the fireworks, to be honest with you. But I've got it between those two. But I just thought Complete Unknown looked very, for first time out over fences, I thought looked more than professional in that department. And so, gets the nod from me. But I got it between the inverted commas, the big two, if you like.
Yeah, Steve, you're with Complete Unknown.
Yeah, Warwick takes some jumping. They come really thick and fast down the back. Yeah, probably faster than Sandown's famous railway fences. In Complete Unknown, jumped really well. First time out at 4 Slash. That was over 2.5 or 2.5. And Complete Unknown is going to improve going up in distance. Is a nephew of Snoopy Loopy, who won the Betfair Chase. Soft ground is not a problem at all. Loves testing ground, won a bumper in heavy, and the hurdles and chase wins both come on soft. And the fact that Paul Nicholls is going for a hat trick in the race just shows that he does tend to run one of his better novices in this race. So I'm not going to get overexcited because Complete Unknown's a bit short for me to be getting that way inclined, but I think he'll win. All
right, 2 versus 2. The big ones with Complete Unknown and Gallia de Litter. 205 is the Savignaco Conti Chase. We bring up the betting for you. Obviously, a shame we don't have Shishkin in this, was ruled out last week. 2.25, Pick Dory. Paint the Dream is 3.5. St Calvados, 5.5. Angel's Breath, 12.0. Off the back of 1,121 days off. Bigger prices, the final 2, Clondor Castle and Cool Cody. Who interestingly gets the nod from a couple of you, 17.0, Steve Jones.
Yeah, I can't understand the market in this race. If it does rain through the morning, like it's forecast to, then that counts against Pick Dory, who's been kept away from soft ground for much of his chase career, and I'd be worried about going in at short prices on him even if it's genuinely soft like it is at the moment. And then it's a process of elimination. Angel's Breath and Clondall Castle have both been off for quite a long time. Angel's Breath, I was sort of toying with, but it's been off for nearly 3 years or more. So Cool Cody, who's 12 now, and this is another great race to bet in because it's probably been priced up on official ratings, and we all know official ratings in these sort of races mean absolutely nothing. And Cool Cody has spent most of his time running around Cheltenham. He won at the festival in March. He also won I think he's won both the pre-Christmas races. So he's a tough horse who likes to go from the front. But he's always looked like he'd be better right-handed. And he won at Ascot last time in a nothing race that it was a 2-run race and St Calvados bolted under David Maxwell. David Maxwell, bless him, he couldn't hold him for much of the race, and then was so tired from trying to fight him that he couldn't really do anything in the finish. So that was a nonsense of a race, but Cool Cody won it. Soft ground isn't a problem, and the prices are just unbelievable. What did you say, 17.0? It's just unbelievable. Doesn't have to lead, but can. Just a good, solid bet. A crazy price.
Adele, what do you want to add?
Not much really. I mean, he is what he is. You know what you're getting, and that's the thing. We picked Dorhe. They had ran him on heavy ground. Was it not last season before, and it proper bottomed him out. So that's why I think they'll keep him away from. Well, they have previously kept him away from those kind of conditions. So if we do get the rain on Saturday, I just think that's a huge negative for him. Obviously, Steve's touched on the horses that are having the first run. So, and St Calvados has got a hood on. That'll help him a little bit. I mean, David's only ridden him once before, so he's still kind of getting to know him a little bit. And just at the prices, with Cool Cody, you just know what you're getting with him. He's tough. Obviously, his win last time at Ascot was the first time away from Cheltenham for quite a while. His only previous start away from Cheltenham was when he ran at Kempton, finishing third in the Pendle Novices Chase. So he's got a little bit of track form there. He's been around the track before. I think he'll be absolutely fine. And like I said, you know what you're getting with him. And at 17.0, wow, like such a huge price for a horse like that.
Yeah, fair enough. 2 shouts for Cool Cody. I didn't want to be out and out against Pic D'Orhy. Although with his having had his win done and on testing ground, I might worry a little bit. I'm sitting it out. Ed, who are you with?
I wouldn't be shocked if Pic D'Orhy was pulled out, to be honest with you. I saw the quote for Nichols. I mean, the horses had 2 wind ups, and he said we want to avoid bad ground at all costs. And look, yes, he's won at Kempton, flat tracks, etc., but does get really deep there. It wouldn't shock me if he came out. But so I'm massively against him. Unlike Steve, no, I'm very much in the brigade of official ratings mean everything. And so with that in mind, the horse who's officially the best in the race and is getting weight off inferior rivals is Paint the Dream, who I think should be market leader here. Bolted up last time out, goes on any ground, stays further than 2.5 as well, which I think could be key, especially if it does become a bit of a war of attrition. And loves a flat track. Obviously, he's got a love affair with Newbury, but he's run around Perth as well. So flat track, soft ground, that's his bag. And as I say, on official ratings, he's the best horse in the field. He's getting weight from horses you'd be giving weight to in a handicap. And much as I love Cool Cody, I mean, he's nearly old enough to smoke now, isn't he? I mean, it'll be some performance if he could come here and get the job done. So yeah, Paint the Dream for me in what should be a competitive race, but wouldn't be shocked if Mr. Nichols did throw the towel in with Pic D'Orhy before they go to post.
Good stuff. 2 shouts for Cool Cody and 1 from Ed for Paint the Dream. The 225 at Warwick is the Ballymore Leamington Novices Hurdle, and betting is as follows. Not a terrible turnout for this, with 7 going in. Tom Lacey's won it before, has Ginny's Destiny 3.5, as is Grey Dawning and Knowlesley Road. Wow, that is tight at the top. 6.0 for Snake Roll, 8.0 Gavega, 11.0 Moon Hunter. Mexico is 18.0. Again, I'm sitting this out. I thought this was filthy trapping, very, very difficult. If pushed, I'd go Knowsley Road. He was put up by, I think, Sam Turner as a horse to follow this year in our jumps preview, and he's done very well so far. Okay, Ed, you can make your case for your horse, and then Adele and Steve are singing from the same hymn sheet. Go on, Ed.
Yeah, just a essentially the grey dawning progressive sort. Upped in trip last time out, thought it brought around more improvement on soft ground. His collateral form is working out pretty well. If you go back to the Exeter run in December, he comfortably saw off Lallygag of Paul Nicholls, and that horse has since come out and absolutely routed the field, albeit in a minor event at Taunton. So I think there's some robustness to his form. Again, it's competitive. They're all last time out winners, but to me, I'm trying to find that superstar in here. You look at the roll of honour of this race, Zingles, Drevers, the new ones, Willoughby Courts have won this. I'm struggling to find something of that ilk in here. There's half the field are rated in the 120s. So I think in truth, it's probably a below par renewal, but that doesn't make it any less competitive or exciting from a betting perspective. So Grey Dawning gets the nod from me. It just looks to be a horse on the up.
Just a follow-up question on the one thing I thought was interesting about him, given we've got co-favourites of 3 currently, Knowsley Road and Ginny's Destiny look like horses that are going to be ridden on the speed. And if you go by what Harry Skelton has by and large done with Grey Dawning, he's been patiently ridden. Would you look in the run on the exchange and just see if there's an overreaction to his positioning and if he's a bit bigger or not?
Possibly, I suppose it depends if people are aware or alerted to the fact that's probably how he's going to be ridden. I don't see an obvious reason as to why they would rock the boat and do something different. As you say, with a lot of pace on here, especially the ground at Warwick as well. This is going to take some proper getting as well, isn't it? So that there is always that opportunity if they do go too hard at ahead of affairs. There's a bit of a pace collapse. So yeah, I mean that is an angle you can always explore. But again, I just think Grey Dawning will be ridden patiently. I liked, at least I think the horse improved or showed he improved last time out for a better test of stamina. And again, he'll probably get even more of that here today. If there was a negative, it would perhaps be the form of the Dan Skelton yard. They've had 1 winner in 2023 so far, haven't they? And I think they've sent out 24 losers in that time. So they've got a little bit cold. I don't know if they're into flu jab territory. Like a few of the yards are at this time of year, but just something to bear in mind. But I just thought Grey Dawning, upped in trip on soft ground, ticking as many boxes as the rest of them really. And I just thought, got a tentative nod from me.
I'm pretty sure they are. Paul Nicholls does it traditionally. Obviously, Dan learned from him, but also I think after that debacle a few years ago, I know Ollie Murphy does it now in January, and I'm pretty sure Dan does as well. Anyway, Steve, Adele, who wants to go first? Go on, Adele.
I don't mind going first. I just had looking at a few of these horses. It's kind of you just kind of going on the one that you like that has put up, I suppose, probably not the best performance, but Ginny's Destiny. I do like the fact has got course and distance form. Go back to his previous run at Aintree, and things just didn't quite go to plan. And interesting, listening to Tom, he said he probably shouldn't have ran the horse because he thought the ground was probably more on the good side than good to soft, and showed his greenness, but definitely made amends for that at Warwick. Still a little bit green in places. I still think there's a little bit more to come from him, but the form still wasn't that bad from Aintree, and he did reverse the form with Mexico, who had previously beaten him by nine lengths. So he was definitely the horse to bring out of the Aintree race, and he's shown that. So he's got a good pedigree. I think he'll make a nice chaser in time. He was obviously well thought of. They had him in the Challow. I just quite like the positives. I mean, Racing Post give him a rating of 148. I just think there's not many negative. What's the negatives about him? He's got course and distance form. Should be fine on the ground. Couldn't really find any negatives with him, to be honest.
No negatives, Steve?
No negatives. Like Adele said, improved really nicely from the comeback run when he was a bit keen at Aintree to Warwick last time in soft ground. That course and distance form on soft ground is ideal. He looks a really smart, progressive horse for me. So I agree with everything Adele said, no negative whatsoever. But I don't agree with everything you say, Tom, because we offer a bit of value here at Matchbook, and going co-favourites of 3, it 3.5 wouldn't be much value. They're 4.5, old boy.
Oh, sugar, he's right. He's right. Yeah, well said. Well said. Oh, this is going to be a long podcast.
I bloody hope not. I gotta get off.
That's why it's going to be a long podcast. You're quite right. 4.5. So he's always on it. Good. So no shouts for Knowsley Road. We've got 2 for Ginny's Destiny, 1 for Grey Dawning. We move on to the 3 o'clock at Warwick. This is the feature. It's the classic handicap chase, the Wiggly Group classic handicap chase. I'll give you prices when we get to the selection. Steve and Adele, the last 4 races we're previewing, agree on all of them.
I know.
Absolute scenes. Steve, go on. You can come straight back in.
Right, here we go again. I'm going to give Ed another lesson in why official ratings mean absolutely fuck all. And there's a horse in
He's
here.
off the bridle.
There's a horse in here that everyone will say, oh, it can't possibly win. It's £10 out the weights. How can that possibly win? It is carrying £10 more than it should be. But Volcano is an exceptional bet for that reason, because that's what most people will think that this horse. But this horse has been to Warwick 4 times, has won 4 times. This is going to take an awful lot of staying the distance. 2 of those wins at Warwick were over this 3 mile 5 and a bit. No problem with soft ground. Ran really well at Ludlow last time over 3 miles, which should be too sharp. Finishing just a neck behind Bob Hope, No Hope. And if you're looking at official ratings, this horse is effectively running off 125. Well, if you go back, albeit the best part of 2 years, Volcano won at Warwick off 125. So you've certainly got the ability to do it. Sheila Lewis, who is a beautician that I think you might need to pop and see. She's in the borders somewhere, Tommy. So
you were looking at Adele when you said that.
Naughty boy. So Volcano about to erupt, and when all that eruption and all that lava comes out, it'll fall on all the people that take notice of official ratings.
Can I even add anything to that? That was just my case is not going to be as flamboyant as Steve's. So.
Follow that, Adele.
That's made it hard, but everything that Steve said, and even his latest run, which just proves even more that he wants a kind of more of a stamina test. He ran really well. I think he did really well to finish second at Ludlow last time out. Which was over a shorter distance. So he just grinds it out. He loved the ground. How can you not tip a horse that absolutely comes alive at a certain track? So he loves it there. So and at the prices, why not? And he if anything, I think the fact that he's got such a featherweight will play into his strengths, and hopefully the others will kind of get tired in the mud, and he'll be carrying nothing.
Well, I'll be honest, Ed, because I don't really want Steve to come back in.
Don't we all?
I'll be honest. That I thought, I looked at him and I thought, this is interesting. And then I saw his £10 out the weights, and I just went, can't win.
No chance. No. No, I'm amazed. Actually, yeah, but one of the most competitive handicap chases of the year, and horse who's got 9 stone to find is being tipped up. No, I get it. In sense that the horse absolutely loves the venue. You can't ever take that away from him. 4 from 4, as you say, unblemished record. Clearly, a real one of the hardest jumping tracks in the country. Test on soft ground, etc., etc. But I mean, come on, £10 out of the handicap. I'm struggling to see it personally, but I am with Nesta Park for the Ben Pauling team. He's come up on the show already this week. That Yarder having an absolute season to remember, aren't they? And he went up for his more or less his biggest test of stamina last time at Haydock, and I thought he saw the trip out well, actually. If anything, I thought he looked as though he wanted even more of a test. Well, he's got it here today. It's going to be heavy ground, 3 miles 5. Don't think he's possibly handicapped. Yarder flying, and he's won around Warwick before as well. He's battle hard and 10-year-old. He's a kind of win and place play. I mean, by far the most fascinating one in terms of the market, anyway, is Mr. Incredible, whose recent form figures look like an episode of Countdown or something, don't they? But this horse has been subject to a lot of support in recent times. Amazing, really. You look back at it. I mean, Mr. Incredible was sent off favourite to beat Ahoy Senior in a Grade 2 at Newbury last year, and the wheels have pretty much come off in recent times. Changed yards, Henry de Bromhead to Willie Mullins, and got brought down in that big handicap over Christmas, but yet seems to be very popular in the markets here for Willie Mullins sending one over. So, yeah, fascinating betting heat. But no, I'm sticking to horses within the handicap here. I'm with Nesta Park in the win and place markets.
If Volcano runs disappointingly, I'm going to bang on about official ratings.
Is that how when you banged on about Captain Morgs at Cheltenham in December? Is that the kind of style you're going to go?
I can't believe I put that up as my lay for a place and it won. And Jonesy was straight on WhatsApp. So I was watching it on a slight delay. So basically, as the horse crossed the line in front of me, I already had Jones bragging on WhatsApp. I'm with Commodore, who his last chase start at this track he won. It's his only chase start at the track. I have a slight doubt about the ground, and I'm not 100% convinced about the distance either. But it's a Venetia Williams horse in the mud, 17.0. Given that he'll attack the fences and is very likely raced at the track, I think it'll really suit. I think he wants to go left-handed, definitely. So I thought 17.0 was fair enough. Win and place, probably half a point each. Small bet for me. Kick on to the last of the races we're going to preview. This is the Pertemps qualifier. It's the 3:35. Betting is as follows for this 9-runner contest. Not been that competitive, the Pertemps qualifiers this year. Obviously now 4 qualified, but definitely in the UK they've been a bit disappointing depth-wise. Ashtown Lad is 4.0. 6.0, the bottom list. Ronald Pump, 7.0. Glimpse of Gala, 7.5. 9.0 is Sire du Burlet, Gordon Elliott. Parry Colour is 12.0. On the blind side, 13.0. I'm getting down to level never ending, 15.0, because this is my selection. He's got a lovely Pertemps profile, an Irish novice who should be able to improve off a mark of 128. And the key is, Gordon will enter a lot of these horses into these races, doesn't always run them necessarily, but he'll see what sort of mark they get. He's obviously looked at 128, knowing that he's likely going to have to win to get in. I can't believe he's the price he is as an Irish Raider. I don't know what I've missed. Not saying he should be favourite, but 15.0 win and place will absolutely do for me. He has to prove himself on heavy ground. Whether he's largely been kept to a sound surface on purpose, I'm not sure. But he's lightly raced, so it's not as if he's tried. In fact, he's tried it once before on debut. He was beaten a neck. Yeah, 15.0. Thank you very much. I thought that was a really good win and place bet. Ed, who are you with? Win and place.
Yeah, fascinating one, isn't it? Got to be careful. I don't get any libel lawyers after me and all that. But who wants to win? Who wants to come in the top 4, etc., etc. Who needs to win? I thought this race was an absolute minefield, a head scratcher. So I've gone for a real left of field selection here with Lieutenant Rocco, who's not quite lived up to the early potential. I think it's fair to say that horse has showed, and has had more trainers than JD Sports. I think that's also something to bear in mind. However, this horse in the mud is very effective. In fact, all career wins have come on ground officially described as heavy. And off 130 over hurdles, it wouldn't be a shock if this horse showed up a lot more of the old spark. Went a bit kind of awry over fences. I think a proper stamina test in the mud could reinvigorate this individual. Quite interestingly, this horse actually thumped Nesta Park back at Fosslas a year or so ago. So, yeah, in the mud, off 130, is the type of horse that probably would need to win, or at least go very close in order to book his ticket to the Pertemps final. But I think it could be a case of it's more about today for this horse rather than some of the others. The likes of Cider Burleys and Ronald Pumps, they'll be definitely having their eye on the big one at March. Whereas Lieutenant Rocco, he's not on the law of averages, going to get his ground at Cheltenham, which is probably not his track either. So Tom Scudamore booked for the ride in a race which I think you can kind of pull apart them all. I'm happy to roll the dice at a huge price with Lieutenant Rocco there.
23.0. I'd just like to add to my case before Steve points it out that my selection Level Never Ending is actually £2 out of the handicap, but official ratings don't count for shit. Adele, who do you like?
Glimpse of Gala, who is on her highest mark, but I think she's still got a bit of improvement in her. Interesting, I was talking to Charlie Longsdon when she won at Kempton, and he said, oh, finally Bradley got it right. I think he'd not quite ridden to orders the previous time, so ridden more prominently. I think he'd held her up the time before. She is tiny. I mean, when I was doing my paddock notes, I didn't get a chance to show her, and I was looking, literally, I think Scarlett could lead her around. She's like a little school mistress. But I was talking to Charlie, and he was saying like she's such a great mare for him to get valuable experience on. She knows her way around Warwick. She holds that course and distance form. Take into consideration Bradley's claim, she's basically going to think she's loose going around there. I think she'll be fine on the ground. So yeah, I think there's still another couple of wins in her. So, and Bradley's such a lovely lad when I interviewed him, really nice. And it'd be nice if he got to keep the ride now if she qualifies and goes there. So we'll see. I think you know what you're getting with her. She's done very little wrong this season. So, what price was she? I can't remember what you said.
7.5.
7.5. Okay, I thought she might have been a bit bigger, but well, I'm happy with that.
And she she'll be on the cusp of getting it. Probably wants to win, to be certain. She runs in the colours of the tweed-clad fossils, which brings us to Steve.
Very good. I hadn't even noticed that yours was at the handicap, and I quite I was interested in Gordon Elliott, but I'd like to put it on record that I didn't see Adele's tips, because we seem to have agreed on everything, which is good news, because we obviously will have so many winners that will be heroes.
Like lava coming over everyone.
So there's a chance, because at least one of these Pertemps qualifiers was called off. There's a chance that with that they're not going to fill the final. Maybe, I don't know. So maybe they want to try a bit harder than maybe you would do before. But yeah, I'm with Glimpse of Gala as well. Wouldn't be massively strong, but I quite liked the way that she did it at Kempton. I don't think I'm not usually all that keen to back mares who've been running in mares races when they step into all open, but she's very honest, and she's got the course form, and she goes in soft ground. So one of my lesser bets, but Glimpse of Gala would be for me.
Okie dokie. Let us know your best bets for the weekend on the live chat, incidentally. Who do you like? Who is your one best bet for the weekend? We'll come to our best bets very shortly. Any other bets, first of all? I couldn't find anything, to be completely honest. Adele, you've got one other bet for us?
Yeah, at Wetherby, which is where I'll be on Saturday, in the 12:47 Choose the News for Mark Walford, who won his sole point to point by 25 lengths and made a winning start at Ayr last month. A little bit green. He went to run out of the stable yard, but he jumped well. And he goes to Wetherby. He's got one of Dan Skelton's to beat. So usually Dan's horses at Wetherby are kind of well supported, and they can be quite short, so you might get a bit of value with this horse. So yeah, I've gone Choose the News at Wetherby.
Steve, your other bet?
It is also at Wetherby in the 157 Hatton's Garden handicap debut. Ran over 2 miles last time, up to 3. Love soft ground. Sandy Thompson, the trainer. I think he's had something like 7 winners out of his last 12 runners, so in huge form. Should be well handicapped and should have everything in his favour. So Hatton's Garden, where you do a lot of your shopping, Tommy.
That's where I bought genuinely. That's where I bought Lauren's engagement ring.
And she's still with you. I just can't believe it.
Ed, who's your other bet?
Yeah, I'm back to the Sunbury venue. The 3:15 Slate House is in the worst race he's ever running. That's an exaggeration, but it's an unbelievable race. It's 7-runner contest, of which 5 of the field were pulled up last time out. And then your hot favourite quick draw of bottom weight for Nicky Henderson team. Well, Nicky Henderson has pulled out quick draw before on account of testing ground. And there's a quote somewhere along the lines that I read saying that, that's not his bag. He wants decent surface. So all in all, I think this is a real mess of a race. Slate House is he's 11 years young now, but he's a class operator on his day. He ran in a really tough race at Cheltenham last time out when he fell when beaten at the time, but he's gone from swimming with sharks to going in the swimming pool here. I mean, he loves Kempton as well. He's a Grade 1 winner around here. Once upon a time, he won the Corto Star Novices, didn't he? He's got 3 wins at Kempton. Will love the ground, and he's only £1 higher than when last successful. I think this is the easiest race he has run in for donkey's years. So Slate House for Brendan Powell and Joe Tizard will be my selection there.
In that 3:15 at Kempton. Lays-wise, I normally like to find a back to lay at least, but we haven't got anything for you, I'm afraid. This week, though the lays have been going very well, but none of the shorties we're too keen to be against. So we'll come on to best bets. Ed, I'll come straight back to you because you've got another one from a different venue, your best bet.
Yeah, I'm over to Fairy House. I'll keep it short, sweet. Blood Destiny won't be a big price, but can win this before going on to win the Triumph Hurdle. Okay,
Blood Destiny, the 12:27 at Fairy House. Steve?
Tile Tapper. I should have chanced one of the big prices, but I think Tile Tapper is just very, very solid and good value at 4.0. It currently is. Will go off shorter.
And the fact that you agreed on most things, Adele couldn't have it. So who's your best bet, Adele?
I know. So I'm going against Steve. I know we've agreed on our last 4 horses, but this race is one we don't agree on. So mine's Percussion, who I think will love the ground. Is a big enough price that he could even play at the place market. Considering he's done very, very little wrong on his last 2 runs, I can't see why he couldn't give another good show for himself. All
right. And I'm with Level Never Ending from £2 out of the weights in the 335 at Warwick at a big old price place. Good stuff, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bang on time for you to go, Steve. But you do have time to tell us the 3 under 3.5 story. How did he get his name?
It's going to have to wait for another day. It does disappoint me because it's not been. I've not told it before, and but we'll do that another time.
We will. He's running. He's running on Saturday, isn't he? All right. Good stuff. Adele, Ed. Lovely debut. Thank you. Steve Jones, as ever, thanks very much. Thanks to everyone at home for listening. Don't forget to head to insights.matchbet.com for a recap of all the bets. That's across all of the podcasts. And get in touch with us this weekend. Hopefully we find you lots of winners. Bye-bye.